today we're going to look at lesson 1.7, multiply by 2-digit numbers. Yesterday we multiplied by 1-digit number. Today we're going to multiply by 2-digit numbers. How do you multiply by 2-digit numbers? A tiger can eat as much as 40 pounds of food at a time, but it may go for several days without eating anything. Suppose a Siberian tiger in the wild eats an average of 18 pounds of food per day. How much food will the tiger eat in 28 days if he eats that amount each day? Okay, we're going to estimate first. Why do we estimate? Yes, if our answer is close to our estimate, if we estimate correctly, then we should know that our answer is close. So we're going to estimate, and we're going to estimate to the nearest 10. So 28 would round up to, and 18 would round up to 20. So 30 times 20, here we can use what we learned about multiplying basic facts. What is 3 times 2? 6. And then we'd have to add 2 zeros because we multiplied 10 times 10 to get 100 there. So 30 times 20 is 600. Step 2. Now we're going to multiply, and we're always going to start in the ones place. And the ones place is clear to our right. Okay, so we have 28 on the top and 18 on the bottom. The first thing we're going to multiply is that times of 8 in 18, because that's in the ones place. So what is 8 times 8? 64. So we're going to put our 1 down here. And what are we going to do with the 6 that's in the tens place? Regroup it up to above the 2. And 8 times 2 is? Plus 2 more is? Or 6 more? 22. So 28 times 8 ones is, 224. I wrote the right number. 224 ones. Okay, now we're multiplying by tens, so we're not going to have anything in the ones place here, so we're going to put a 0, or I see sometimes kids put an X there. Okay, so it's important that, and we're down in step 3. It's important, oh, I guess I should maybe move on. Here we go, step 3. So we said 8 times 8 was 64, right? And we grouped our 6, and that was 224 first. Now, we're going to multiply by our tens. So we don't have anything in the ones place. You can put an X, or you can put a 0. And then we're going to multiply. 110 times 8 is, and 110 times 2 is, okay, so 28 times 110 is 28 tens, or 280 ones. Okay, so now we have our 224. Was that what we're supposed to be doing? Yes, and our 280, and we're going to add those, and we're going to add our ones, which is 4. We're going to add the tens place, which is 10. So we've got to regroup 1. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 more is 5. So we added those two partial products. to get 504 pounds. Now, what was our estimate? 600. Is that close? It might seem a little far away, but at least it's not, 2,000 something. Okay? All right, you're on page 32 here. The Siberian tiger sleeps as much as 18 hours a day or 126 hours per week. About how many hours does a tiger sleep in a year? There are 52 weeks in a year. Estimate. What are we going to make 126 be? To the nearest 100. 100. Okay? And we're going to estimate 52 to the nearest, well, I would say to the nearest 10. So what is the nearest 10? 50. So we have 1 0 in our 50s, 2 zeros in our hundreds, and 5 times 1 is 5. So we have 5,000. Now we're going to do the real problem here. See if we come close. 126 times 52. First we're going to multiply this bottom number. That's in the ones place. And 2 times 6 is 12. You have to regroup that 1 up above the tens. Now we're going to multiply the ones place times the tens place up top. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. Then we're going to multiply the 2 in the ones place in the bottom number times the number in the hundreds place, which is 2 times 1 is 2. So 126 times 2 is 252, or 126 times 2 ones is 252 ones. Okay? Let's go on to step 3. So we multiplied this already and it was 252, correct? Now we're going to multiply our, let me write that a little bigger, it'll look better. Or down here in the box. Okay, now we're multiplying by 10, so we're not going to have any ones, so you have to put a 0 in there to fill that ones place. Or an X in there. Okay, now we're doing 5 times 6 is 30. We're going to regroup that 3. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 is 13. Regroup a 1, and 5 times 1 is, plus 1 is 6. Okay? So it's 630 tens, or 6,300 ones. Now we're going to come down in step 4, and we're going to add our partial products. This is where it's kind of important that you get your place values lined up, one on top of the other. So 2 plus 0 in the ones place is 2. 5 plus 0 in the tens place is 2 plus 3 in the hundreds is, and then we're not adding anything to our 6 in the thousands place. So the Siberian tiger sleeps about 6,552 hours. Who remembers what our estimate was? 5,000 hours. Now I will tell you, the larger your numbers get, the further off your estimate can be, especially if you round them to hundreds and tens. All right, let's look at the bottom, little question at the bottom. Okay, so let's go back and look at step 3, which is right here, 5 times this 0 right here is what they're talking about. why do we put a 0 there? Emma?
Because you are going to the 10th place.
Right, we're multiplying in the tens place, right? So we're not necessarily going to have any ones. Okay? So let's type in what we need here. Okay, so the 0 in the ones place shows that there are 630 tens. If I took 630 times 10, I would get 6,300 ones. So it shows that there are 630 tens or 6,300 ones. Okay, so now we're on the Share and Show page, page 33, and we're going to go ahead and do just what we did before. So let's look at 3 times 4. Remember, we always start in our bottom number in the ones place, and we multiply it by the ones. So 3 times 4 is 12. And we're going to put the 2 that's in the one place in 12 in the ones, and we're going to carry the 1 over to the tens column. Now we're going to go back to that ones place, and we're going to multiply it by the top number in the tens. 3 times 6 is, plus 1 more is,
19.
so the 9 is in the tens, and the 1 is over in the hundreds. Now we're moving, let's see if we got that right. Oh. Now we're moving on down to our next row, and we're multiplying by the 4 in the tens spot, or by 40 if you want to look at it that way. So we're going to put our 0 here. That takes care of this little 0 out there. Now we're going to go from this 10 spot to the top number, the 1 in the top number. 4 times 4 is 16, and that goes in the tens. And we're going to regroup a 1. And 4 times 6 is 24, plus 1 is 25. Okay? So let's add our partial products. 2, 9 and 6 is, we group a 1. 5 plus 1 is, and there's nothing to regroup. So 2,752. Are there any questions on that? What I see most is that kids forget to do this. And then they have 256 over one place value, and it's in the wrong spot and their problem doesn't come out. Okay, this is number 2 up to the top, 571 times 38. Now somebody commented that they get confused what number on the bottom they're multiplying by. Okay, so we always know we have to start in the ones. So 8 times 1 is, and 8 times 7 is, regroup our 5, and 8 times 5 is, plus 5 is. So if you get confused, once you finish that, you might cross it out. Then you know that you have done that. Okay? So now we're multiplying by the number in the tens place. So we're going to put our 0 here, or our x, whichever you choose. And then we're going to take our 3 times the number in the ones place, which is 3. And 3 times 7 in the tens place, which is 21. And 3 times 5 is, plus 2 more is. So when I add those partial products, is this a 7? You should get 21,698. All right, we're going to go ahead and do number 4. We're going to estimate it, and we're going to estimate 37 to the nearest 10, which is 40, and 63 to the nearest 10, which is 60. We have our 2 zeros, and then 6 times 4 is, so we should get a number that's about 2,400. Go ahead and stop your recording and do that. Okay, here we go. 3 times 7 is 21. Regroup a 2. 3 times 3 is 9. plus 2 is 11. We're multiplying by our tens now.